Hey guys, Kyle, the Death Knight of Anime here, bringing you my review for One Piece chapter 951, actually, even before I get into the review itself, as many of you have noticed, I just completely skipped out on pretty much the last week review of One Piece. And that's because honestly it was pretty much filler, and to be honest with you, I honestly have, when it comes to the filler of One Piece, it is enjoyable stuff, but it's one of those things where if you pretty much compare it to like the canon stuff, I pretty much have pretty much extremely little to say. I have extremely little to say with the filler of the One Piece anime. So yeah, I skipped this week, and I'll be skipping this week of well. I'll be getting back to those reviews when Prince 800 and I think it's 800 and basically 97 hits. Yeah, that's to the point where I'm going to be getting back. I'm going to be getting back to the anime reviews, or whenever the canon, like when the One arc resumes. So yeah, just for anyone who was curious about as to why I didn't review the anime last week. But yeah, I'm pretty much skipping. I'm skipping this week. I skipped last week, and I'm skipping this week as well, only because of the filler. And yeah, I just don't have anything to say about the filler. It's other than it's basically it's pretty much enjoyable. Like yeah. Um, but yeah, like I said, let's get into the review, which is One Piece chapter 951. So this is definitely one of those chapters where it was definitely relentless in showing us just how much the Straw Hats and their allies were being boxed in, but at the same time, but at the same time, through some very clever visual cues, you can also really easily piece together what kind of plan is being formed. Right, what kind of plan is being formed right up, pretty much basically right up, pretty much right up when we basically get the reveal that basically Ash Uramaru intends to get the Onigashima on those boats, but even. But the thing is, even with this reveal of basically Ashamaru and the samurai having this plan of getting to Onigashima on those boats, it's still the pretty much plan. You can pretty much tell that the whole plan, it just isn't gonna stop there, because even with this review, even with this review of Ashamaru and the boats, the potential escape plan is more than likely going to get even crazier than that. Because in this chapter, you can pretty much see the cogs. Because in this chapter, when we basically switch over to when we switch over to Sanji, who's basically observing what's going on in the capital, you can see the cogs in his head are. You can see the cogs in his head are spinning, and the moment he basically laid eyes on those, like on those flying ships, so to speak, like those first toy flying ships. You know what he's gonna do. He's gonna make them. He pretty much in the moment he laid eyes on those like toy ships, you know what he's gonna do to the real thing. He intends to make those ships fly. And what makes this part even better is that obviously if pretty much the ships end up flying in the exact same way as those toy blimp ships or whatever. Obviously at that point the ships are going to stand out, but if played correctly, it's also going to be the perfect camouflage, because if things play out in pretty much the way that I assume that pretty much Sanji is thinking about it, then with those ships, if they make the ships look like those blimps or whatnot, then then they'll practically blend in, and the citizens of the capital will think that was basically all pretty much part of basically Orochi's from Orochi's whole celebration of the whole celebration, that it was all part of Orochi's plan for all part of Orochi's plans for this like celebration or whatnot that's gonna happen. So yeah, it's basically gonna it's like the perfect escape. It's everything's being set up for practically the perfect escape plan, but like I said, it really all depends on what goes right and what goes wrong here. Um, and yeah, the chapter also continues what happened with Law and how he essentially traded his life for his crew to be released. And also gave a warning not to tell Luffy he's been captured, which right there instantly says it's gonna like right there it instantly says that Prince Luffy is basically gonna rescue Law. Like it's gonna happen. It's the moment Law said that, it was set in stone. The only thing I'm wondering about with this is if it's going to be a coincidental rescue or an intentional one. Because on one hand, Beppo isn't exactly known for keeping his mouth shut, and the Heart Pirates very clearly say that pretty much Law's life takes priority to them. But on the other hand, this can mean they won't tell Luffy, but they'll use what they plan to do is use the plan in order to sneak into the capital as kind of cover and a means to rescue him. Like that's pretty much what I'm thinking right now is that they're going to is that they're either going to is that Beppo is going to let something slip, or is that they're going to tell Luffy, or they're going to keep it secret, and they're going to use the plan in order to sneak in the capital as a means of using the capital to plan to seek at the capital to their advantage in order to rescue Law. So yeah, because honestly, let's be 100% real here. Every time Oda ends up setting up something like this, there's always that one little loophole that can be exploited. It can be exploited, and yeah, with pretty much Law's whole warning of not telling Luffy, there are plenty of loopholes that if they don't end up actually telling Luffy, then there are plenty of loopholes in which the Heart Pirates can in fact like take advantage of the situation. Like it's like Law himself. He just kind of set up. He just said something that has just so many loopholes that can be exploited from that. Just saying. And yeah, as far as Hawkins, I've already said my piece on that. And to be honest with you, at this point, I'm just gonna let that shit play out on itself. Like with Hawkins, I've honestly got no idea where Oda's headed with him. So yeah, I'm just gonna let that shit play out as is. Now things got really interesting when at the point where we end up switching over to Big Mom, who's now being held captive by Kaido's crew, because in that scene of her being held captive, we learn Whole Cake Island, while a very diverse place, apparently is short of 3 species. One we pretty much already know as the Giants. The second is pretty much supposedly whatever King is. And that's where things get interesting, because looking closer at Prince King's base form, I think it's obvious. I think it's actually more than obvious now that I look at his base form that the wings are probably not a side effect of his devil fruit. Is not a side effect of his devil fruit because his wings look really bird-like. And his devil fruit form is a dinosaur, which is reptilian. So, knowing that, the closest I can gather as to what King might be is that he's either a harpy, a rock, a pretty much rock, pretty much the ancient Egyptian bird rock, or a fusion of the two, a pretty much rock harpy or something like that. And what really tips me off, and either way, whatever he is, what tips me off with his lineage being, whatever tips us off to his lineage being almost tied to the rock, is that Big Mom did drop that little tidbit in the chapter about king species being lost to the sands of time. So honestly, I probably could be making something out of nothing with just that one bit of sands of time, but it could be Oda's way of telling us, look, if you want an answer of what king is, you should probably look a little closer to ancient Egypt for the answer. Like that pretty much could be Oda's way of saying, yeah, if you want the answer, there it is. But yeah, I'm definitely leaning. Either way, I'm definitely leaning his lineage being tied to some kind of being tied to being tied to the Egyptian rock. I think he probably he probably is a harpy, but a harpy who has like that, who has that who has that lineage of pretty much the rock almost, of the rock bird almost, or something like that. of and of course with this it also leads to the even bigger question of what that third species is. And yeah, honestly, I really haven't gotten that far yet. I was only with this whole thing of Big Mom missing like three species on Whole Cake Island. I really only got as far as the harpy rock theory. The third one though, that one still kind of boggles me a bit. So I need a little more time to think on that one and let things play out a little more in order to know what exactly what the third species is she's missing. I mean, the only thing I can think of is dragon, but yeah, I don't know. I'll let that final third species that she's missing play out in the story. And aside from that, though, damn, that clash between Kaido and Big Mom was just wow. I mean, it isn't the first time we've seen like two Yonkos split the sky while clashing weapons with each other, but it's just again one of those things where you're reminded not only how powerful the Yonko are, but how in the fuck are Luffy and Law supposed to beat this monster? Supposed to beat a monster like Kaido? It just seems impossible unless again Big Mom teams up with them. I mean, the only thing keeping him the pretty much only thing that's keeping me grounded in that's keeping like Kaido grounded for me, and the fact that he can be defeated is the little exposition dump from way back when he was first introduced, of how many times he's been captured and how many times he's had an attempt on his life fail. So with that, keeping that whole expedition dump in mind when he was first introduced, it does at the very least say he can be defeated if you pretty much overwhelm him. But still, it's again, that whole scene, it just kind of leaves me breathless. Like I've got no idea what the plan is going to be in terms of Law and Luffy beating Kaido. I've got nothing. Other than of course the whole hockey wave thing, but I'm not sure how that's going to fit into all this. Also, I can't say for sure, but because of course with Oda, you never really know how much longer he's gonna drag it out. But hopefully, Big Mom's pretty much rhetorical question about how many decades has it been is Oda's way of transitioning into pretty much into her backstory with Kaido next chapter. Like that's kind of what I'm hoping for. Is that next chapter we're finally going to get into what Kaido and Big Mom's backstory is, If not, then I'm hoping it'll only be I'm hoping that we won't have to wait too much longer, like only around 2 or 3 chapters more, because I'm not gonna lie, if basically Oda is using this as a means to dick us around even more, I'm kind of getting a little. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of getting a little irritated with him teasing us and dangling their history over our heads like that. I can't lie, it's getting a little annoying. So hopefully this is going to hopefully this chapter is going to lead into next chapter being about Kaido and Big Mom's history, because yeah, I want to know that history for sure. Like, Oda, stop dicking us around, show it to us now, please. I'm begging you. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Facebook, AniList, or Crunchyroll. Death Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, guys.